Nobody ever sat you down and explained the invisible physics of the room. They didn't tell you that every person you meet makes a subconscious decision within 3 seconds about exactly how much space you're allowed to occupy. Most people think respect is earned through aggression or loud voices, but they're wrong. It's about the signals you've been broadcasting your entire life without even realizing it. And once you decode these signals, I promise you, no one will ever dare to cross that line with you again. But before we dive into the 18 subtle traps, I have a special reward for those who stay until the very end. I'm going to share the 1-second silence rule, a psychological trick used by world leaders to instantly command a room without saying a single word. Before we go a step further, let's get one thing straight. This isn't about dominance. This isn't about being a sigma or playing toxic power games. We aren't here to see people as enemies or learn how to intimidate others. This is about something much quieter and much more profound. It's about understanding the language of human perception. People are always reading you. They aren't reading your resume or your good intentions. They are reading your signals. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Most people who treat you poorly aren't evil. They aren't sitting in a dark room plotting your downfall. They are simply responding to the energy you're projecting. If you don't know what you're putting out, you can't act surprised by what's coming back. This is about clarity, not conflict. As the saying goes, people don't treat you based on who you are. They treat you based on who they think you are. And who they think you are is built in the smallest, most invisible moments. Signal 1, the physical pre-apology. The first signal starts the very moment you enter a room, long before your vocal cords even vibrate. It's the physical pre-apology. You walk in and immediately make yourself smaller. You round your shoulders, you cast your eyes down, and you pull your energy inward as if you're trying to avoid bumping into the atmosphere itself. You are essentially apologizing for occupying three-dimensional space. Humans are biological machines designed to sense presence. When your presence is uncertain or apologetic, others instinctively fill that vacuum. They don't do it to be mean. They do it because you've signaled that the space is available for the taking. I remember being at a high-stakes networking event years ago. There was a person there who didn't say much, but when they sat down, the movement was deliberate. They didn't fidget. They didn't scan the room for a safe person to talk to. They just existed with stillness. People gravitated toward them like they had their own gravity. Respect doesn't always start with a handshake. It starts with the quiet permission you give yourself to exist. Signal 2, the trap of over-explaining. The second signal is a trap I fell into for years. The need to over-explain. You say yes to a request, and then you immediately follow it up with 3 reasons why you're saying yes. Or worse, you say no, and then you offer a 5-minute apology, an essay on your current schedule, and a backup plan to make them feel better. When you give context that no one asked for, you're quietly whispering to the other person that your answer isn't valid on its own. You are signaling that your no needs their permission and your yes needs their justification. It doesn't. No is a complete sentence. Yes is a complete sentence. When you over-explain, you are training people to become judges of your life. You are inviting them to weigh your excuses and decide if they're good enough. Think about the most influential people you know. They don't offer a paragraph of text for a simple question. They speak their truth and then they stop. That silence after the answer is where your power lives. It tells the world, I have spoken and I am at peace with my choice. Signal 3, the uncomfortable laughter. The third signal is something many people actually think is a social skill, but it's actually a respect killer. It's the punctuation laugh. You laugh at the end of sentences that aren't funny. You laugh when someone says something slightly rude to you. You laugh to soften the blow of a serious statement. You aren't laughing because you're happy. You're laughing because you're uncomfortable. You're trying to manage the other person's emotions for them. But here's the consequence. Your laughter becomes background noise. People stop trusting your genuine reactions. If you laugh when you're insulted, how can they know when you're actually offended? Your emotions become flexible and adjustable based on the temperature of the room. And when your emotions are negotiable, so is the respect people give you. Imagine you're sharing a deep, personal goal with someone and they let out a tiny, nervous chuckle. It feels like they aren't really there, right? That is exactly how you make others feel when you use laughter as a shield. Signal 4. Filling the silence. The fourth signal is subtle, but it shapes your entire social hierarchy. It's the silence panic. Someone pauses in a conversation and you feel an almost physical pain in the quiet. You rush to fill it. You start talking about the weather, or you start defending a point you made 5 minutes ago. You treat silence like an accusation of boredom, but silence is just data. When you rush to fill it, you signal that you are the one responsible for the other person's comfort. You're essentially working for them. Confident people don't fear the gap. They own it. They know that if they wait, the other person will eventually speak, often revealing more than they intended to. Stop being the entertainment director of every conversation. Let the silence breathe. Let it be awkward if it has to be. The person who is most comfortable with silence is usually the person who holds the most power in the room. Signal 5. Defending the unasked. Signal 5 is closely related to over-explaining, but it's more defensive. You start justifying yourself before anyone even asks a question. Someone looks at your shoes for a second too long and you say, "Oh, I know these are old, I just didn't have time to..." Stop. No one asked about your shoes. By defending yourself against a question that wasn't asked, you are highlighting your own insecurities. You are literally pointing out the areas where you feel less than. You are training people to look for flaws. I used to do this constantly until I realized that every time I justified my presence, I was handing away a piece of my dignity. If someone has a question, let them ask it. If they don't ask, assume they have nothing to say. Stop offering explanations as if they are rent for being in the room. You don't owe the world an itemized list of why you do what you do. We are only 5 signals in, and if you're already seeing your own reflection in these points, then you're exactly where you need to be. Awareness is the first step to transformation. Before we move into the next 13 signals, which get much more specific and harder to spot, I want to ask you a favor. If this video is already shifting the way you think about yourself, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications. We are building a community of people who are tired of being overlooked and ready to reclaim their grounded power. Also, comment the word aware down below, so I know you're committed to finishing this journey. Now let's get back into it. Signal 6, the hyper-responsive trap. Signal 6 is something we've all become guilty of in the digital age. You are too available. You respond to every text, every DM, and every email within 30 seconds, no matter what you're doing. While you might think this shows you're reliable or efficient, what it actually signals is that your time has no weight. It tells people that you are always interruptible. It says that their minor notification is more important than whatever you are currently doing. People don't respect what is always available. They respect what has boundaries. Think about a high-value professional or a person of deep influence. You don't expect an instant reply from them because you know they are busy doing things that matter. I'm not saying you should play games or wait 3 days to text back. I'm saying you should notice if you've become a slave to other people's pings. When you drop everything the moment someone else asks, you are teaching them that their needs are the priority. Signal 7, rejecting the compliment. The 7th signal is how you handle kindness. Someone says, "Great job on that presentation," and you immediately say, "Oh, it was nothing, I just got lucky." Or, "Actually, I messed up the 3rd slide." You are literally pushing the respect back at them. You are rejecting the value they are trying to place on you. When you do this, you aren't being humble. You are being self-erasing. You are telling the other person that their judgment is wrong. Eventually, people will stop offering compliments because you've made it awkward for them to be nice to you. Learning to say thank you and then stopping, no deflection, no minimization, is one of the most powerful respect hacks you can learn. It signals that you agree with their assessment of your value. Signal 8, the validation loop. Signal 8 is asking for opinions when you've already made your choice. You're not looking for a different perspective. You're looking for a co-signer for your life. You want someone else to tell you it's okay to do what you're already doing. People can feel that desperation for approval. It creates a quiet hierarchy where they are the judge and you are the defendant. Once someone feels like you need their okay, the balance of the relationship tips. They start holding a subtle power over you because they know you won't move without their nod. Ask for advice when you genuinely need a new perspective, but if you already know the answer, protect your autonomy. You don't need a committee to decide how you live your life. Signal 9. The excessive nod. The ninth signal is a physical one. It's the eager nod. While someone else is talking, you're constantly nodding your head like a bobblehead on a dashboard. You think you're showing that you're listening or agreeable, but what you're actually showing is eagerness to please. It looks like you're waiting for their permission to be part of the conversation. True presence is still. You can listen intently without performing. In fact, the most powerful people in any room are often the ones who listen with a calm, steady gaze. They don't need to prove they are listening with physical cues. Their focus is their proof. Signal 10. The rapid response. The 10th signal is the beat skip. Someone finishes a sentence and you start talking before the last word has even left their lips. There is no breath, no pause, no moment of reflection. This signals that you weren't actually listening. You were just waiting for your turn to talk. It also signals that you are reactive and easily rattled. But when you take just 1 second, a single beat, to process what someone said before you reply, the dynamic changes instantly. You look grounded. You look like you're choosing your words rather than just vomiting them out as a reflex. People respect what sounds chosen. Signal 11. Folding under the interruption. Signal 11 is the silent retreat. Someone cuts you off mid-sentence and you just stop. You go quiet and let them take the floor. You might even smile and act like what you were saying wasn't important. But by doing this, you are confirming to the interrupter that their voice matters more than yours. Most interruptions aren't malicious. They are tests. If you don't protect your own sentences, people learn that they don't have to wait for you. You don't have to be aggressive. You don't have to snap. You can simply say, "Hold on, I want to finish this thought," or just keep talking at the same volume until they stop. Your voice has a right to reach the end of its sentence. Signal 12. The over-delivery strategy. Signal 12 is performance generosity. You do way more than what was asked, hoping that your extra effort will finally make people see your value. But here's the paradox. The more you over-deliver without boundaries, the more you turn your extra into the baseline. People stop seeing it as a gift and start seeing it as your job. Then, the one time you don't do the extra work, they get angry at you. You have essentially trained them to take you for granted. Respect isn't earned by being the most exhausted person in the room. It's earned by being the person who knows the value of their contribution. Signal 13. The emotional chase. Signal 13 is imbalanced reach. You are the one who always sends the double text. You are the one who always initiates the check-in. You are the one who shares deep personal details while the other person stays guarded. This creates an emotional vacuum where you are always leaning in and they are always leaning back. Some people will let you chase them forever because it's comfortable for them. They get all the validation with none of the effort. But the moment you pull back to a neutral position, you'll see the truth. Either they will step forward to meet you, or the connection will die. Both results are better than being the only person holding the rope. Signal 14. The preemptive self-insult. The 14th signal is weaponized self-deprecation. You make the joke about your weight, your bank account, or your failure before anyone else can. You think you're being funny or showing high self-awareness, but you're actually just handing the other person a map of your insecurities. You are teaching them the language they are allowed to use when talking to you. There is a very thin line between being playful and being self-erasing. If you treat yourself like a punchline, don't be surprised when people stop taking your serious moments seriously. Signal 15. The gaze shift. The 15th signal is in your eyes. You are always the first one to break eye contact. You look down or to the side because being seen feels too intense. This signals a lack of belief in your own right to be there. I'm not saying you should have a staring contest with everyone you meet. That's just creepy. I'm saying you should practice holding a calm, steady gaze until the other person looks away first. It's a small shift that completely rewires how people perceive your confidence. Signal 16, the fear of the no. Signal 16 is the dishonest yes. You say yes to things you hate because you're terrified of the social fallout of saying no. You think that if you disappoint someone, they will stop liking you. But here's the secret. People actually respect those who say no more than those who say yes to everything. A person who says yes to everyone has a yes that means nothing. A person who says no has a yes that is worth gold. Boundaries aren't walls to keep people out. They are gates to show people where the entrance is. Signal 17. The courtroom. Emotion. The 17th signal is justifying your feelings. Someone hurts your feelings, and instead of just saying, "I didn't like that," you start a 20-minute presentation on why you have the right to be upset. You provide evidence. You quote past events. You try to win the argument. But emotions aren't a legal debate. By trying to prove your feelings are valid, you are suggesting that they might not be. You don't need a reason to feel how you feel. Your feelings are a fact. The moment you start debating them, you've already lost the respect you were seeking. Signal 18. Changing colors. The final signal is the social chameleon. You change your opinions, your tone of voice, and even your values depending on who you're talking to. You want to fit in so badly that you become a mirror. But mirrors are boring. People might like looking at themselves in you, but they won't respect you because they don't know who you actually are. Integrity is about being the same person in every room. People respect consistency. They respect the person who is willing to be the odd one out because they actually believe in something. Let me leave you with this. I didn't share these 18 signals to make you feel bad. I shared them because I've lived them. I spent years wondering why I was being overlooked, only to realize I was the one training people to overlook me. Now, for those of you who stayed until the end, here is the 1-second silence rule. Next time someone asks you a question, especially a difficult one, don't answer immediately. Count to 1 in your head while looking them in the eye. That 1 second of silence signals that you are the master of your own time. It signals that you are thinking, not just reacting. It is the ultimate respect reset. You teach people how to treat you by what you allow, what you stop, and what you reinforce. That's not a burden. That's your power. It means you can change the pattern starting right now. Go out there, hold your space, and I'll see you in the next video.